Santa gave a GPU upgrade for my wife. It's a 4080 Super. It was up to me to install it, but all the gift wrappings were all over the place and I slipped and accidentally installed the 4080 in my own computer. Imagine that. I've had the 7900 XTX in my own system for a year now, and now I had the chance to look at the 4080 Super. I looked at a few games, but I was most interested in the Star Wars Outlaws, as I see it as the best showcase for modern graphics. Not an optional ray tracing, but a well integrated and optimized always on ray tracing solution. The venerable 5800X can make the system CPU bound in our scenario. All three games I tested seem to become CPU bound around 100 FPS on both GPUs. Now, according to other benchmarks, the 4080 should be always faster, but for my system this was not the case. In the Outlaws, the XTX was about 10 FPS faster. This means the 4080 is up to 20 FPS off the mark, as it is expected to be 10 FPS faster, not slower. In Alan Wake 2, we see the XTX deliver a cushy 95 FPS with RT off and 55 and 35 FPS with RT low and medium. The 4080 does the same, 55 FPS at low and medium and a 45ish at high RT. The CPU doesn't seem busy at all here, but something is holding the 4080 back at low preset. And I'm tempted to say that it's still some CPU or system bound process, as there is very little scaling between the presets. In Great Circle, we see again 55 FPS for the RTX ray tracing high preset, which seems to suggest that the Nvidia branded ray tracing modes are CPU limited to the 55 FPS mark on my system. This is an interesting finding. Being limited to 100 FPS by the CPU is not that alarming, but 55 FPS certainly is. Nvidia is the king of ray tracing, and they regularly sponsor advanced modes of ray tracing into latest games. Outlaws, for example, has the direct lighting mode, so let's see what we get. In my small test run, simply enabling the mode sends us to 70 FPS with FrameGen on. That is a 35 FPS base frame rate. Medium comes at no cost, again suggesting a CPU bottleneck, although the CPU graph shows no busy cores. Unfortunately, the Outlaws implementation is also buggy, with holes appearing on the ground and major stuttering coming up regularly. The Great Circle is CPU limited just above 100 FPS, and enabling the NVIDIA specific advanced mode neatly cuts the FPS in half to 55. Again, the 4080 can run even high full RT preset against the CPU limited 55 FPS frame rate. While I can certainly appreciate the better shadows or ambient occlusion, I'm generally not a huge fan of these add-on advanced modes, specifically for their high performance cost. And it seems the great hardware demands are not only for the GPU, but the CPU and the whole system as well. The best feature Nvidia has to offer is still DLSS, and now also the ray reconstruction. On these pipes, the highlights are much more tight and there is no coasting or smearing as seen in the XTX output. However, the pipes also now have a noise pattern that I just couldn't find when I went back to look for it on my XTX. The AI solution is trying to see textures or patterns on all surfaces, even on smooth ones. Others have even reported a metal surface exhibiting a wood pattern. This robot's outlines and features are incredibly detailed, almost like the outlines were drawn with a pen or the whole image was an intricate oil painting. Ray Reconstruction's ability to clean up coasting and smearing is fantastic, and I do prefer it over other methods. We have three claims in support of NVIDIA. Let's see what they are worth. 1. It's faster. NVIDIA's driver overhead has been investigated and documented by many, but I was still surprised to see it come up in 4K gaming. The few games I tried were indeed faster on the XTX, as long as the advanced ray tracing modes were not used. 2. Advanced ray tracing modes. I didn't find any benchmarks supporting the CPU bottlenecks regarding the advanced ray tracing modes. The 5800X should be able to push higher numbers at lower resolutions according to Tech PowerUp. Simply turning the advanced ray tracing to low will instantly degrade performance, but turning the preset to medium or even high has little impact. The ray tracing hardware seems well equipped to handle these modes, but some other GPU bottleneck must be at play here. Even unbalanced upscaling, 4K 60 appears to be just too much for the advanced modes. You are certainly expected to use high amounts of upscaling or tolerate lower frame rates for this one. 3. Output quality. I remember seeing DLSS 2.0 for the first time in the game Deliver Us the Moon, and it was very impressive. NVIDIA has been in the forefront of upscaling ever since, and it shows. FSR has certainly advanced as well, and the gap is not that large anymore. But then there's ray reconstruction. This is NVIDIA's best card in the deck at the moment, and others have nothing comparable to show. The very thing that's wrong with ray tracing is the awful ghosting and smearing. Ray reconstruction is most effective against these and kind of transforms the whole technology. So, that's it. Only one claim was found waterproof. What do you think? Is the Nvidia's premium pricing worth it? Comment below.